Look, I'm going to be straight with you. If someone told me 5 years ago that you could go from literally zero, maybe even negative if you've got debt, to a six-figure net worth in just 2 years, I would have laughed him out of the room. Sounds like one of those scammy get-rich-quick schemes, right? But here's what's crazy. I've spent the last 3 years researching this, talking to people who've actually done it, running the numbers myself, and you know what I found? It's not only possible, it's actually more formulaic than you'd think. Not easy, but formulaic. There's a blueprint. And before you click away thinking, oh great, another finance bro telling me to just make more money, hear me out. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't about crypto gambling, day trading, or starting some revolutionary tech company. This is for people with normal jobs, normal skills, maybe even normal debt. This is the complete system with real numbers, actual timelines, and zero fluff. Here's what nobody tells you. Getting to your first 100K is fundamentally different than going from 100K to 200K or beyond. The strategies are different, the psychology is different, even the math works differently. And I'm going to show you exactly why, but not yet. We'll get there in the final section because that insight alone is worth the price of admission, which, by the way, is free. You're welcome. In the next 2 hours, we're going to break down the complete roadmap. I'm talking about the exact phases you need to go through, the specific dollar amounts you need to hit at each milestone, the real percentages you should be saving, the income streams that actually matter, and the psychological traps that derail most people between months 8 and 14. And I'm going to share something with you toward the end, around the final 15 minutes, that most financial advisors don't even understand. It's about what happens at the 100K mark that literally changes the game forever. It's not what you think, and once you understand it, you'll see why this first 100K is the most important money you'll ever build. So if you're in your late 20s, 30s, or even 40s and you feel like you're behind, if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck while watching everyone else seem to figure it out, if you've got maybe a few thousand saved, or maybe nothing at all, or hell, maybe you're in the red with student loans and credit card debt, this is for you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This requires work. This requires discipline, but it doesn't require luck, and it doesn't require you to already be rich. It just requires a system. So let's do this. Let's build your first 100K. Okay, so here's the thing everyone gets wrong about building wealth from nothing. They think the problem is that they don't have money, but that's not actually the problem. The problem is that most people don't have a system. They're trying to build wealth the same way they're trying to get in shape, with motivation instead of structure. And motivation? Motivation runs out around day 11. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to give you a blueprint you can follow even on the days you don't feel like it. Let's start with where you actually are. And I mean really where you are, not where you tell people you are. Pull up your bank account right now. Actually do it. What's the number? Now add up all your credit card debt, student loans, car payments, whatever. What's your real net worth? For a lot of you watching this, that number is probably somewhere between negative $20,000 and positive $5,000. And you know what? That's completely normal. A 2023 Federal Reserve study found that the median net worth for Americans under 35 is literally $13,900. For people ages 35 to 44, it's $91,300. So if you're starting at zero or below zero, you're not behind. You're just at the actual starting line where most people begin. But here's where it gets interesting. There's this thing called the wealth accumulation curve that nobody talks about. It's not linear. It's exponential. And that means your first $10,000 takes way longer than your next $10,000, which takes longer than the $10,000 after that. Think about it like pushing a car. Getting it moving from a standstill, that's the hardest part. You're straining, sweating, barely moving. But once it's rolling, you can keep it going with way less effort. Then once it's really moving, it almost carries itself. Your first 100K is you pushing that car from a dead stop. It's going to suck, not going to lie to you, but once you hit that mark, and we'll talk about why 100K specifically is the magic number later, everything changes. Here's what I need you to understand right now. Building wealth from zero is a 3-phase system, not 5, not 10, just 3 distinct phases. Each phase has its own rules, its own priorities, and its own timeline. Phase 1 is months 0 to 8, the foundation. This is where you're stopping the bleeding, building your initial safety net, and setting up your systems. This is not sexy. This is financial triage. Phase 2 is months 9 to 18, the acceleration. This is where you're actually building wealth, optimizing your income, and stacking multiple strategies. This is where most people start to see real momentum. And phase 3 is the multiplication. This is where compound interest starts mattering, where your money makes money, where you cross major psychological thresholds. And each phase has specific dollar targets, specific behaviors, and specific metrics you need to hit. Miss one phase and you'll struggle in the next. Try to skip ahead and you'll fall back. It's sequential. So let's break down phase 1, because this is where most people fail, not because it's the hardest, but because they don't respect what this phase is actually about. Phase 1, the foundation, months 0 to 8. Your first milestone is $3,000, not $10,000, not $1,000, exactly $3,000 in a high-yield savings account. Why $3,000? Because behavioral finance research shows that once people have about $2,500 to $3,000 saved, their financial anxiety drops by about 40%. That's the number where you stop feeling like you're constantly in crisis mode. It's enough to handle a car repair, a medical bill, or a week without pay without completely derailing your life. But here's the thing. Getting to $3,000 when you're starting from 0 or -0 isn't about saving harder. It's about getting your financial house in order first. And that means 3 things need to happen in your first 60 days. First, you need to know where your money goes. I don't care if you use Mint, you need a budget, a spreadsheet, or literally a notebook. Track every dollar for 30 days, every single one. The $4.50 coffee, the $12 DoorDash fee, the $9.99 subscription you forgot about. You know what's wild? When people actually do this, really track everything for 30 days, they find an average of $314 per month in what I call zombie spending, money that just walks out of their account for things they don't even care about if they were gone. That's $3,768 per year, just sitting there. You're not broke because you don't make enough. Well, okay, maybe that's part of it, but you're also broke because $300+ is disappearing every month into things you literally wouldn't notice if they were gone.
Second, you need to set up what I call the 2-account system. This is simple but critical. You need 2 checking accounts, one for bills, one for spending. That's it. Here's how it works. You calculate all your fixed monthly expenses, rent, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, subscriptions you're actually keeping. Let's say that number is $2,200. On the day you get paid, $2,200 moves immediately to your bills account. Everything that's left stays in your spending account. Why does this work? Because your spending account now shows you what you actually have to spend, not what you think you have after you sort of mentally subtract bills. What you actually have. The number you see is the number you can spend without destroying your life. I know this sounds stupidly simple, but I've seen this one system prevent more financial disasters than any budgeting app ever could. Third, you need to automate one small saving mechanism, even if it's just $50 per paycheck, even if it's just $25. The amount almost doesn't matter in month 1. What matters is the system. Set up an automatic transfer. Maybe it happens every payday. Maybe it happens every Monday. The money moves from checking to savings without you thinking about it. You're literally rewiring your brain to treat saving as a non-negotiable, like rent. Now, here's where people mess this up. They try to save too much too fast. They're all motivated on January 1st, so they set up a $500 automatic transfer. By January 23rd, they're transferring it back to buy groceries. By February, they've turned off the automation completely and decided they're just not good with money. Wrong. You're fine with money. You just set the difficulty level too high too fast. Start with an amount so small it almost feels pointless. If you can only do $25 per paycheck, do $25 per paycheck. That's $650 per year, which is $650 more than you had. And more importantly, it's the habit. The amount will increase naturally as you progress through the system. Okay, so let's say you've done these three things. You're tracking your spending, you've got your two-account system running, and you've got some small automated savings happening. Now what? Now we get to the uncomfortable part, the debt conversation. Look, I know what the standard advice is. Pay off all your debt before you do anything else, or debt is slavery, or whatever dramatic thing the finance gurus are saying this week. But here's the real math. It depends on the type of debt and the interest rate. If you've got credit card debt at 23.7% APR, yeah, that needs to be priority one. That's not debt, that's a financial emergency. Every month you carry that balance, you're lighting money on fire. But if you've got federal student loans at 4.2%, or a car loan at 3.8%, or even a personal loan at 7.5%, that's different math. You can strategically pay those down while simultaneously building your savings. Because here's what nobody tells you. If you put every dollar toward debt and have zero savings, the first unexpected $800 expense puts you right back into credit card debt. You've just created a cycle. So, here's the framework. In phase one, if you have high interest debt, anything over 15% APR, your split is 70% toward that debt and 30% towards your $3,000 emergency fund. You're tackling both simultaneously, but the debt gets priority. If you have medium interest debt, 7 to 15% APR, you go 50-50, half toward debt, half toward savings. If you have low interest debt, under 7% APR, you flip it, 30% toward debt, 70% toward savings. You're making the minimum payments, but your focus is building that foundation. Why? Because that $3,000 in savings is your insurance policy against going backwards. It's the circuit breaker that stops the debt cycle. Let me give you a real example. Sarah, 29, working in marketing, making $52,000 per year. She's got $8,400 in credit card debt at 21.4% APR and $28,000 in student loans at 4.5% APR. She's also got about $600 saved. Old advice, throw everything at the credit card, then the student loans, then start saving. New framework, she needs to get to $3,000 in savings while destroying that credit card debt. So she calculates she can put $650 per month toward financial goals. She splits it, $455 toward the credit card, $195 towards savings. At that rate, the credit card is gone in 18.5 months, accounting for interest, and she hits $3,000 in savings in 12.3 months. So, at month 12, she's got her safety net. Then she can throw the full $650 on the credit card for the remaining 6.5 months. Versus the old way, putting the full $650 toward the credit card means it's paid off in 13.2 months, only slightly faster, but she has zero cushion the entire time. One emergency and she's back on the card. The math matters. The psychology matters more. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I actually come up with $650 per month when I'm already barely making it? Great question. That's the income piece. And here's where we need to be honest. At some point, you can't budget your way to wealth. You can't skip Starbucks your way to $100K. You need to make more money. But before you roll your eyes and think, oh great, just make more money, why didn't I think of that? I'm not talking about getting a second job at Target. I'm talking about optimizing your primary income and adding strategic side income that actually scales. In phase one, your income goal is simple. Increase your monthly take-home by 15 to 20% within the first 6 months. For someone making $50,000 per year, about $3,200 after taxes, that's an extra $480 to $640 per month. How? 3 methods, in order of effectiveness. Method 1, negotiate your current salary. I know, scary, uncomfortable, you don't want to rock the boat. But here's the thing. Studies show that people who negotiate their salary just once earn an average of $500,000 more over their career than people who don't. And if you're thinking, I just started this job, or now's not the right time, or I'm not good enough yet, let me stop you. Research from Fidelity shows that 85% of people who negotiate get at least part of what they ask for. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be prepared. We'll talk about the exact negotiation framework later, but for now, just know this is the highest ROI activity you can do. 30 minutes of discomfort for an extra $5,000 to $8,000 per year. Method 2, strategic skill development. Not going back to school, not getting a whole new degree. Strategic skills that increase your value in your current field. If you're in marketing, maybe it's learning Google Analytics or SQL. If you're in operations, maybe it's project management certification. If you're in sales, maybe it's mastering a new CRM system that your industry uses. The key word is strategic. What skill, if you had, would make you more valuable in the next 12 months? Not in 5 years, in 12 months. Free courses are everywhere. Coursera, YouTube, LinkedIn Learning. You can become proficient in most business skills with 60 to 90 days of focused learning. Then you update your resume, LinkedIn, and internal profile. Then you use that as leverage for a raise or promotion, or you start applying to slightly higher level positions. Method 3. Income stacking with side projects. And no, I don't mean driving Uber. Look, gig work has its place, and if you need quick cash, do what you need to do. But trading hours for dollars isn't the move in phase 1. What you want is what I call compounding side income, things that get easier over time or can scale without linear time investment. Examples: freelance consulting in your actual expertise, not some random thing, something you're already good at. Building a small Shopify store with 3 to 5 winning products. We'll talk about this more in phase 2. Creating and selling templates, spreadsheets, or resources in your field. Affiliate marketing through content you're already creating. Online tutoring or coaching in a specific skill. The goal in phase 1 isn't to build a business empire. It's to add $300 to $600 per month in a way that doesn't burn you out. I had a friend, Marcus, who was a software developer making $68,000. He started doing code reviews for early-stage startups on weekends, just 3 to 4 hours, reviewing their code base and documenting issues. He charged $400 per review, did 2 per month. That's an extra $800 monthly, $9,600 yearly. That alone accelerated his phase 1 timeline by about 4.5 months. Here's the key. Your side income in phase 1 should take less than 10 hours per week and use skills you already have. If you're learning something new from scratch and working 20 hours a week on top of your day job, you're going to burn out by month 3. All right, so let's put this together. You're 8 weeks in. You've cut your zombie spending, freed up $300-ish per month. You set up your 2-account system. You started automated savings, even if it's small. You've identified your debt strategy, and you've started optimizing your income. By month 4, you should realistically be saving or investing about $500 to $700 per month if you're making around $50K. If you're making more, scale that up proportionally. If you're making less, scale it down, but understand the timeline stretches accordingly. By month 8, the end of phase 1, here's where you should be. $3,000 in your high-yield savings account, your emergency fund. High-interest debt either eliminated or on a clear payoff trajectory. Monthly income increased by 15 to 20% from your starting point. Automated systems in place that don't require daily willpower. Clear tracking of where every dollar goes. Your net worth at month 8, assuming you started at 0, somewhere between $3,000 and $8,000, depending on your debt situation and how aggressive you've been. I know that doesn't sound like much. I know you're not going to post that on Instagram. But here's what actually happened. You stopped the chaos. You built a foundation. You created systems. And now you're ready to actually build wealth. Because phase 2, that's where things start moving fast. Remember that thing I mentioned at the beginning about what makes 100K special? Keep that in mind. We're building towards something specific, and every phase matters. Chapter 2. The Phase 2 Acceleration. How to hit 25K in 10 months. Okay, so you've got your $3,000 safety net. Your income is up. Your systems are running. Most people would just keep doing the same thing. Keep saving that $500 to $700 per month. Keep grinding. And you know what? That's fine. That works. You'll hit 100K in about 10 to 12 years at that rate. But we're not doing fine. We're doing the complete blueprint. And phase 2 is where we shift from defense to offense. Here's what changes in phase 2. In phase 1, you were building the foundation, emergency fund, systems, basic income optimization. But in phase 2, you're building wealth. And wealth building is fundamentally about 3 things: increasing the gap between income and expenses, investing that gap intelligently, and multiplying your income streams. Let me break down exactly what happens in months 9 through 18. The saving strategy. First thing, we're increasing your savings rate. In phase 1, you were probably saving 15 to 20% of your income. In phase 2, we're pushing that to 25 to 35%. I know what you're thinking. That's impossible. I'm already stretching to save 15%. But here's the thing. Remember that income optimization we did in phase 1? That extra 15 to 20% you added to your income, that entire amount should flow directly into savings. You never let your lifestyle inflate to match it. This is what behavioral economists call arbitrary coherence. Basically, you get used to living on a certain amount. If that amount stays constant even while your income grows, you don't feel deprived. You just keep living the same life you were living, except now you're building wealth at 2 to 3 times the rate. Let's use real numbers. Say you were making $4,000 per month take-home at the start, living on $3,400, saving $600, 15%. Now you've increased your income to $4,800 per month through salary negotiation and side income. Instead of lifestyle creeping to $4,200 in expenses, you keep your lifestyle at $3,400 and now save $1,400 per month, 29%. That extra $800 a month is $9,600 per year. Over the 10 months of phase 2, that's an additional $9,600 you wouldn't have had. Add that to your baseline savings of $6,000 and you're at $15,600 saved in phase 2 alone. Plus, you're coming into phase 2 with about $3,000 to $8,000 from phase 1. You're starting to see how we get to $25K by month 8. But here's where it gets interesting. We're not just saving, we're investing. The investment framework. All right, investing, the thing that everybody makes way too complicated. Here's the truth. For someone building their first 100K, investment strategy is like 80% behavior and 20% actual tactics. The tactics matter, but not as much as just consistently doing it. In phase 2, you're splitting your monthly investment between 3 buckets. Bucket 1, tax-advantaged retirement, 60% of your investment. This is your 401k with employer match, Roth IRA, or traditional IRA. If your employer offers a match, you max that out first. That's literally free money. It's a 50 to 100% instant return depending on their match structure. For 2024, you can put up to $6,500 in an IRA, $7,500 if you're over 50. You're probably not maxing these out in phase 2, and that's fine. You're just consistently contributing. What do you invest in? God, please don't pick individual stocks. Not yet, not in phase 2. You want low-cost index funds, specifically total market index funds or S&P 500 index funds. I'm talking about funds like VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market, VOO, Vanguard S&P 500, or their equivalents from Fidelity or Schwab. Why? Because over the last 30 years, the S&P 500 has averaged 10.7% annual returns. Some years it's up 25%, some years it's down 18%, but over time it averages around 10%. And here's the kicker. About 85% of professional fund managers can't beat the S&P 500 over a 15-year period. You're not smarter than professional fund managers. I'm not smarter than them. So we just buy the whole market and let it do its thing. Your asset allocation in phase 2, if you're under 35, I'd go 90% stocks through total market or S&P funds and 10% bonds through a total bond fund. If you're 35 to 45, maybe 80-20. The younger you are, the more volatility you can stomach because you have time to ride out the downs.
Bucket 2, taxable brokerage account, 30% of your investment. This is your regular investment account, not tax-advantaged, just a standard brokerage account with Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, whoever. Why do you need this when you have retirement accounts? 2 reasons. First, you can access this money before age 59.5 without penalties. Second, you'll hit the contribution limits on retirement accounts before you hit your savings goals. Same strategy here. Index funds. Maybe throw in a bit more international exposure, something like VXUS, Vanguard Total International Stock, at like 20-30% of this bucket. Bucket 3, high yield savings, 10% of your investment. This is your opportunity fund. It's cash sitting in a high yield savings account earning 4 to 5% as of late 2024, early 2025. This isn't for emergencies. That's your phase one, $3,000. This is for opportunities. Maybe a friend starts a business and you want to invest $2K. Maybe you find an underpriced car you can flip. Maybe a real estate opportunity pops up. You need some cash that's accessible and not locked in the market. This keeps you flexible without sabotaging your long-term growth. So let's run the actual numbers. Say you're saving $1,400 per month in phase two. $840 goes to tax-advantaged retirement accounts, $420 goes to taxable brokerage, $140 goes to high-yield savings. Over 10 months of phase two, that's $8,400 in retirement accounts, $4,200 in brokerage, $1,400 in opportunity fund. Total, $14,000 saved, plus whatever market returns you got, probably 6 to 10% annualized, but it varies. Add that to your phase one ending balance of, let's say, $6,000, and you're at $20,000. Add in some market appreciation and the continued income growth, and you're hitting that $25,000 by month 18. But wait, I told you we'd hit $25K. Some of you are doing the math and thinking, that's only getting me to like $22K. Right, because I haven't told you about income stream stacking yet. Income stream optimization. Here's what most people miss. Phase one was about optimizing your primary income and maybe adding one side income. Phase two is strategically stacking 2 to 3 income streams that compound on each other. The goal isn't to work 80 hours a week. The goal is to have money coming in from multiple sources so that your active income, trading time for money, decreases as a percentage of your total income. By the end of phase two, your income should look something like this. Primary job, 70 to 75% of total income. Side income stream 1, 15 to 20%. Side income stream 2, 5 to 10%. Passive or investment income, 2 to 5%. Let's talk about what these side streams actually look like, and I'm going to be specific because vague advice is useless. Side stream example 1, productized service. This is taking something you're good at and packaging it into a repeatable, scalable offering. Real example, Jennifer, 31, works in HR making $58K. In phase one, she started doing resume reviews on the side for $75 per review, making about $300 to $450 per month. In phase two, she pivoted. Instead of custom resume reviews, she created 3 resume packages. Basic, resume review plus 30-minute call, $150. Standard, resume plus LinkedIn optimization, $275. Premium, resume plus LinkedIn plus cover letter template plus interview prep, $450. She spent 2 weekends building a simple website using Card, cost her $19 per year, wrote some SEO-optimized blog posts about resume tips, and started posting tips on LinkedIn. Within 4 months, she was doing 8 to 12 packages per month, average of $2,200 monthly. She spent maybe 15 to 20 hours per month on it. That's $110 to $147 per hour. And here's the key. It got easier over time because she templated everything. By month 18, that side income alone had added $22,000 to her wealth building journey. That's the difference between hitting 25K net worth and hitting 47K net worth. Side stream example 2, content leveraged income. This is building an audience and monetizing it through affiliates, sponsorships, or your own products. Real example, David, 34, software engineer making $89K. He started a YouTube channel reviewing coding courses and development tools, stuff he was already using. First 6 months, got maybe 800 subscribers, made about $40 in ad revenue, basically nothing. But month 8, he made a detailed video about his favorite project management tool, included his affiliate link in the description, made $340 in affiliate commissions that month. By month 14, he had 4,200 subscribers and was making $800 to $1,400 per month from a combination of ads, affiliate links, and one sponsor. He posted 1 video per week, about 4 to 5 hours of work per video, including editing. That's about $12,000 over the 10 months of phase 2. Not life-changing, but it's 15% of his journey to 100K. Here's the thing about content leveraged income.
It's slow to start, but it compounds. Video 1 gets you 50 views. Video 10 gets you 300 views. Video 30 gets you 1,200 views. It's not linear. Side stream example 3, small-scale e-commerce. I'm not talking about building the next Amazon. I'm talking about finding 2 to 4 products that solve specific problems and selling them online. Real example, Amanda, 28, works in operations for a logistics company making $51K. She spent $800 launching a small Shopify store selling organizational products for college students, desk organizers, cable management kits, study planners. She sourced them from Alibaba, ordered small batches, 50 to 100 units per product, and ran targeted Facebook ads to college student groups. First 3 months, lost about $200 learning what worked. Months 4 to 10 averaged about $1,100 per month in profit after ads and product costs. Time investment, about 10 hours per week managing inventory, customer service, and ads. That's roughly $7,700 over phase 2. Not massive, but when you add it to her primary income growth and her disciplined saving, it pushed her from $23K to $31K by month 18. Now, I'm not saying you need to do all 3 of these. Pick one additional income stream in phase 2 that aligns with skills you already have or interests you already pursue. Don't start from zero learning a whole new thing. That's how you burn out. The formula is primary income plus 1 optimized side stream plus disciplined investing equals $25K by month 18. But here's what nobody tells you about this phase. The psychological game changes. Around month 11 or 12, something weird happens. You start seeing real progress. Your accounts have actual money in them. You're watching your net worth climb every month. And then you start getting scared. You start thinking, what if the market crashes? What if I lose my job? What if this side income dries up? This is completely normal. It's called loss aversion, and it's actually a sign you're doing well. You finally have something to lose. Here's how to handle it. You don't. You just keep executing the system. The fear doesn't go away. You just get used to operating with it in the background. What you absolutely cannot do is let that fear make you pull your money out of investments and stick it all in a savings account. I've seen people do this at $15K, get scared of a market dip, pull everything out, and then never hit their $100K goal because they lost years of compound growth. The market will dip. It will have bad months, bad quarters, maybe even a bad year. If you're investing consistently, every month, same amount, regardless of what the market does, you're doing what's called dollar cost averaging. You're buying more shares when prices are low and fewer when prices are high. Over time, this smooths out volatility.
From 2009 to 2024, the S&P 500 had 8 years where it was up over 20%, 5 years where it was up 10 to 20%, and only 3 years where it was negative. If you invested consistently through all of it, you crushed it. If you tried to time it, pulling out during the bad years, you probably underperformed a savings account. Stay the course. Trust the system. All right, so by month 18, you're sitting at around $25,000 net worth. You've got multiple income streams humming. Your investment accounts are growing. You've avoided major psychological pitfalls. You're over a third of the way to 100K. And now we enter phase 3. This is where things get wild. This is where we go from 25K to 100K in just 6 to 8 months. Wait, 6 months? That seems impossible. We took 18 months to get to 25K, and now we're saying we can add 75K in just 6 more months? Yeah, and here's why that's not only possible, but actually expected if you've done phase 1 and phase 2 correctly. But before we get there, let me show you something that's going to blow your mind. Okay, this is one of those concepts that once you understand it, you'll never look at wealth building the same way. Let's talk about compound growth, but not in the boring way that every finance video explains it. Let's talk about what it actually means in real life with real numbers in real time. Most people think wealth building is linear. Like, if it takes you 8 months to save $10,000, then logically it should take you 80 months to save $100,000, right? Just multiply everything by 10. Wrong.
dead wrong. And this is why most people massively underestimate what's possible in a short time frame once they get momentum. Here's what actually happens. Let's say you're saving $1,000 per month and investing it at an average 8% annual return, which is conservative for an S&P 500 index fund over time. Month 1, you invest $1,000. It's now worth $1,000. Month 2, you invest another $1,000. Your first $1,000 made about $6.67 in gains. You now have $2,006.67. Month 3, you invest another $1,000. Your previous investments made about $13.50. You're at $3,020.17. Okay, this is boring. Let me skip ahead. Month 12, you've invested $12,000, but your account is worth $12,516. You made $516 just from your money growing. Month 24, you've invested $24,000. Your account is worth $26,097. You made $2,097 from growth. Month 36, you've invested $36,000. Your account is worth $41,132. You made $5,132 from growth. See what's happening? In year 1, your growth added 4.3% to your savings. In year 2, growth added 8.7%. In year 3, growth added 14.3%. By the time you're at $50,000 invested, you're making about $4,000 per year just from growth. That's like adding a third of a month's savings every single month without doing anything. This is why we say the first 10K is the hardest, because at 10K, your money's making you maybe $60 to $80 per month in growth, but at 50K, your money's making you $330 per month. At 100K, your money's making you about $660 per month. Your money literally starts working for you. It becomes a team member. And this is just from market returns. This doesn't include the fact that as you progress through these phases, your income typically increases, your side streams mature, your systems get more efficient. Let me show you what this looks like in the complete 24-month journey. Months 0 to 8, phase 1. Net worth goes from $0 to $6,000. That's $750 per month on average. Your money made you basically nothing. You're just saving. Months 9 to 18, phase 2, net worth goes from $6,000 to $25,000. That's $1,900 per month on average. Your money made you maybe $1,200 total in investment returns over this period. Months 19 to 24, phase 3, net worth goes from $25,000 to $100,000. That's $12,500 per month on average. Your money made you about $4,800 in investment returns during this period. You see how it accelerates? This is compound interest meeting compound effort. Your money is growing while you're also adding more money, while your income is also increasing, while your side streams are also maturing. Everything is compounding at once. But here's the thing most people miss. This only works if you actually make it through phase 1 and phase 2. You can't skip to phase 3. You can't go from 0 to let compound interest do its thing, because compound interest doesn't mean anything when you're starting with $300. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, said it perfectly. The first 100K is a bitch, but you gotta do it. He understood this math. The first 100K is disproportionately hard because you're building from nothing. You've got no momentum, no compound growth helping you. But once you're past 100K, things get stupid easy. We'll talk about why in that final section I mentioned, but for now, just understand, the math is on your side if you can stay consistent through the hard part. And the hard part is months 8 to 14. That's where most people quit. All right, real talk. If you're going to fail at this, it's probably going to happen between months 8 and 14. Not in the first 2 months when motivation is high, not in month 20 when you can see the finish line. In that middle zone, the messy middle as some people call it. Why? Because months 8 to 14 are where several things converge to create a perfect storm of temptation and fatigue. First, the novelty is worn off. You're not excited about tracking your spending anymore. You're not pumped to see your savings account hit 5K. It's just normal now. The dopamine hits from progress have diminished. Second, you're far enough in that you're tired, but not far enough in to see massive results. You've been disciplined for almost a year, and you look at your net worth and it's like $18,000, which is great, but it's not life-changing. You can't quit your job with $18K. You can't buy a house. You're in no man's land. Third, life starts throwing stuff at you. Your car breaks down, your friends are going on a trip, there's a wedding, the holidays hit, your apartment needs new furniture. There are 47 legitimate reasons to pause the plan. Fourth, if you've added side income streams, you might be feeling burnout. You've been working your day job plus 10 to 15 hours per week on your side thing for 8+ months. You're exhausted. And fifth, this is the sneaky one, you might start rationalizing. You know what? I'm doing pretty good. I've got $15K saved. I'm way better off than I was. Maybe I can ease up a little. Maybe I can spend a bit more. I deserve it. And you do deserve it. That's not the point. The point is that ease up a little turns into back to old habits so fast it'll make your head spin. I've seen it happen dozens of times. Someone's crushing it through month 10, then they take their foot off the gas for just 1 month to recharge. 1 month becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and then they're at month 18 wondering why they're still at $19K instead of $30K.
Strategy 1. Automate everything you possibly can. By month 8, every single financial decision should be automated. Money moves from checking to savings without you. Money moves from checking to investments without you. Bills pay themselves. Your only job is to not interfere. Why? Because willpower is a finite resource. You've been using willpower for 8 months. You're running on fumes. Automation removes willpower from the equation. If you haven't automated everything by now, do it this week, today, right now. Set up automatic transfers, automatic investments, automatic bill pay. Make it impossible to fail by making it impossible to choose. Strategy 2. Build in intentional rewards. Here's something nobody tells you. You don't have to be miserable for 24 months. In fact, if you're miserable, you'll quit. Every 3rd month, build in a planned reward. Not something huge, not a $3,000 vacation, but something that feels like a real break or treat. Month 9, nice dinner out at that place you've been wanting to try, $100 to $150. Month 12, weekend trip or a piece of tech you've been eyeing, $300 to $500. Month 15, slightly bigger experience, $500 to $800. These are built into the plan. You're not cheating. You're not going off track. You're executing a long-term, sustainable system that includes being a human being with desires and needs. The key is these are planned, not impulsive. You know they're coming. You budget for them. They're not guilt-laden. They're part of the system. Strategy 3. Change your environment. If you're constantly around people who spend money on things you're trying to avoid, you're fighting an uphill battle. I'm not saying ditch your friends. I'm saying be intentional about your environment. Maybe you join an online community of people also building wealth. Reddit's financial independence community, Choose FI forum, local meetup groups focused on investing or side hustles. Maybe you start following people on social media who are on a similar path instead of people flaunting expensive lifestyles. Maybe you have one friend you can text when you're about to make a dumb financial decision and they talk you down. Environment matters more than willpower, always. Strategy 4. Track different metrics. Your net worth is going to plateau or feel slow between months 8 and 14. That's just math. But there are other metrics you can track that show progress. Your savings rate percentage? Are you consistently hitting 25 to 30%? Your side income monthly total? Is it growing, even if slowly? Your investment account balance versus what you've actually contributed. Are you seeing returns? Your monthly expenses. Are they staying flat while income grows? When net worth feels slow, these other metrics can show you you're still winning. Strategy 5. Remember your why. This is going to sound cheesy, but it matters. Why are you doing this? And I don't mean to have more money. I mean, what does 100K actually mean for your life? Does it mean you can quit a job you hate? Does it mean you can move to a new city? Does it mean your parents can retire earlier? Does it mean you'll sleep better at night? Does it mean you can start a business? Does it mean freedom from constant financial anxiety? Get specific. Write it down.
Keep it somewhere you'll see it when you're tired in month 11. Because here's the truth, building wealth is actually pretty boring. It's doing the same disciplined things over and over. It's saying no to things you want to say yes to. It's working when you'd rather rest. The only way you push through boring is if you're crystal clear on what's on the other side. All right, let's say you make it through the danger zone. You're at month 15, sitting at around $28,000 to $32,000 net worth, and you've maintained your momentum. Your income streams are flowing, your investments are growing, your systems are solid. Now we enter phase 3, and this is where things get really interesting. Chapter 5, Phase 3 Multiplication, the final sprint from 25K to 100K. Okay, here's where we need to address the elephant in the room. I said we're going from 25K to 100K in about 6 months. And some of you are thinking, that's $12,500 per month. How am I supposed to save $12,500 when I've barely been saving $1,500? Fair question. And the answer is, you're probably not going to save $12,500 per month purely from your income, but you're going to hit 100K anyway. Here's how. Component 1, continued aggressive saving. By phase 3, your income has likely increased significantly. Between salary increases, optimized side income, and maybe a promotion or job switch, you're probably making 30 to 40% more than when you started. If you started at 50K annual take-home and you're now at 65 to 70K, and you're maintaining the same lifestyle expenses from month 0, your saving capacity has exploded. Let's say you're now able to put away $2,200 per month in phase 3. Over 6 months, that's $13,200. Component 2, market returns. Remember, you're not starting phase 3 with 0. You're starting with 25 to 30K invested. At an 8% annual return, that's growing by about $2,000 to $2,400 over 6 months. That's not a ton, but it's $2,200 you didn't have to earn or save. Your money made that for you. Component 3, side income maturation. Here's what happens to side income streams that survive past month 12. They start to mature. They get more efficient. They grow. That productized service that was making you $800 a month in month 12 might be making $1,800 a month because you've gotten better at it, you've raised your prices, you've gotten more referrals. That content-based income that was making you $400 a month might be $900 a month because your audience grew and you optimized your monetization. Over a 6-month period in phase 3, matured side income streams can add an extra $5,000 to $12,000 beyond your baseline. Component 4, strategic windfalls. This is the part that's harder to plan for, but almost always happens. Expectations actually matter. Tax refund, work bonus, freelance project, gift from family, sold something, got reimbursed for something, found money in an old account, insurance payout. I'm not saying rely on this. I'm saying it almost always happens. And in phase 3, instead of spending it, you direct it toward your goal. One $3,000 bonus could be 4% of your journey from 25K to 100K. Component 5, the aggressive move. This is where phase 3 gets interesting. In phase 1 and 2, you were playing it safe, building foundation, being consistent, not taking big swings. But in phase 3, you have options, you have capital, you have momentum. And sometimes the move that gets you from 60K to 100K is something bigger. Let me give you some examples of aggressive moves I've seen work. Example A, the job switch. Michael, 22, was making 68K in month 18. He'd been at his company for 3 years. He spent months 19 and 20 aggressively applying to similar roles at other companies, landed an offer for 89K. That's a $21,000 annual increase, or $1,750 per month. Over the final 4 to 6 months, that accelerated his timeline significantly.
Example B, the side business scale. Priya, 29, had been doing social media consulting on the side, making about $1,100 a month by month 18. In phase 3, she made a decision. She hired a VA for $400 a month to handle the admin work, allowing her to take on more clients. Her income jumped to $2,800 a month, and her time investment actually decreased. Net increase, $1,300 a month after the VA expense. Example C,
the calculated risk. James, 35, had been building his net worth conservatively. By month 20, he was at $58K. He had a friend launching a small local business, a mobile detailing service, and needed a $10K investment for equipment and marketing in exchange for 20% equity. James calculated the downside. Losing $10K would set him back about 3 months, versus the upside. If the business succeeded, 20% could be worth $30K plus in 2 to 3 years. He did it. The business hit profitability in month 4. By month 24, James's stake was worth about $18K. He turned $10K into $18K in 4 months, adding $8K to his net worth. Now, I'm not saying you should gamble your money. I'm saying by phase 3, you have a foundation strong enough that you can take calculated risks that have asymmetric upside. In phase 1, a $10K loss would have destroyed you. In phase 3, a $10K loss would set you back but not break you. That changes what opportunities you can pursue. Component 6, Expense Optimization Round 2. Here's something counterintuitive. In phase 3, you might actually increase certain expenses to make more money. Maybe you hire a cleaner for $120 a month, which frees up 6 hours per month that you can use for your side business, which makes you an extra $800 a month. Net gain, $680 a month. Maybe you invest in a course or coaching that costs $1,200 but teaches you a skill that increases your income by $500 a month. After 3 months, you're ahead. Maybe you move to a slightly more expensive apartment that's closer to work, cutting your commute from 90 minutes daily to 30 minutes. That's 10 hours per week back in your life. What's 10 hours worth to your side income? Could be $1,000 plus a month. This is what I call strategic lifestyle inflation. You're not spending more to feel fancy. You're spending strategically to buy back time or energy that you convert into income. Let's put all these components together with realistic numbers. Starting phase 3 at month 19, $25,000 net worth. Months 19 to 24, 6 months. Continued aggressive saving, $2,200 a month times 6 equals $13,200. Market returns on existing investments, $2,500 approximately. Matured side income above baseline, about $8,000. Strategic windfall, bonus or tax refund, about $3,500. Aggressive move, job switch, business scale, or calculated investment, about $6,000 net gain. Expense optimization leading to higher effective savings, about $2,800. Total additions in phase 3, about $36,000. Starting balance, $25,000. Phase 3 additions, $36,000. Ending balance, $61,000. Okay, wait, that's only $61K. I promised $100K. Here's what I didn't mention. Phase 3 doesn't start at month 19. It can start as early as month 16 if you've crushed phase 1 and 2, and it doesn't have to end at month 24. For some people, it extends to month 26 or 28. But more importantly, the numbers I gave you are conservative. If you execute even 2 of those aggressive moves, if your side income really takes off, if you get a significant raise, if the market has a particularly good 6-month run, the numbers can be significantly higher. I've seen people go from $30K to $105K in 8 months. I've seen people go from $40K to $100K in 5 months. It depends on how hard you push and what opportunities present themselves. But let's talk about the most important part of phase 3, the psychology, the 100K mindset. There's something that happens around the 60K to 70K mark. You start to believe this is actually possible. Before that, it was just a plan, a hope. But at 60K, with 2 to 4 months left in your 24-month window, you can see the finish line. And this is where 2 things can happen. Path 1, you take your foot off the gas. You think, you know what, I'm at 65K, that's pretty damn good. I'll hit 100K eventually, no rush. Don't do this. The difference between hitting your goal in 24 months versus 30 months is massive. Not just because of the 6 months, because of what hitting your goal on time does to your identity. When you tell yourself you're going to do something in a specific time frame and you actually do it, you become someone who keeps promises to themselves. That's worth more than 35K. Path 2, you go beast mode. You're so close you can taste it. You get laser focused. Every dollar gets scrutinized. Every opportunity gets evaluated. You're not desperate, you're determined. This is the path. This is where you sprint, not because someone's chasing you, but because you can see what you're running towards. In the final 2 to 3 months, your entire focus should be, what can I do to accelerate this? What would add an extra $5K to my net worth in the next 60 days? Maybe you sell stuff you don't need. Maybe you take on one extra project. Maybe you negotiate one more client. Maybe you push harder on your day job to close more deals and earn a bonus. Maybe you cut one unnecessary expense for 60 days. Small optimizations when you're this close can shave weeks off your timeline. And then one day, maybe it's month 23, maybe it's month 25, you log into your accounts and do the math. All accounts combined, minus any debts, and the number says 6 figures. $100,316, $102,450, $107,882. Whatever it is, you did it. You went from 0, or worse, to a 6-figure net worth in about 2 years. And now, everything changes. Actually, wait, I know what you're thinking. Okay, cool motivational ending, but you said there was something special about 100K that changes the game. What is it? Right, I did say that, and we're getting there. But first, we need to talk about what to do when things don't go according to plan. Because they won't. They never do. Chapter 6. When life happens, how to handle setbacks and still hit your goal. Let's be real for a second. I've laid out this beautiful 24-month blueprint with phases and timelines and specific dollar amounts. And some of you are thinking, this sounds great on paper, but what about when shit hits the fan? And you're right to think that, because life doesn't care about your financial plan. Your car breaks down in month 7 and it's a $2,100 repair. Your company has layoffs in month 11 and you're suddenly job hunting. Your dog needs emergency surgery, your laptop dies, your rent goes up $300 a month, you get into a minor car accident, your wisdom teeth need to come out, and of course, it's not fully covered. I could go on and on with real scenarios that have derailed people's financial plans. So let's talk about how to handle these without completely destroying your timeline.
The emergency protocol. First thing, remember that $3,000 emergency fund you built in phase 1? This is what it's for. This is its entire purpose. When the unexpected expense hits, and it will, you don't panic. You don't put it on a credit card at 23% APR. You use the emergency fund. That's literally why it exists. Let's say you're in month 10. You're at $16,000 net worth, and you get hit with a $2,000 emergency. Your emergency fund drops from $3,000 to $1,000. Your net worth is now $14,000. You just went backwards by $2K. Here's what you do. 1. Pause investments temporarily. For the next 1 to 2 months, instead of splitting your money 60-30-10 across retirement, brokerage, and cash, you go 40-20-40. You're still investing, but you're prioritizing rebuilding that emergency fund to $3,000. 2. Don't cut back on income-building activities. This is critical. When people get hit with an emergency, their instinct is to cut everything. I can't afford to run ads for my side business right now. I can't pay for that software subscription that helps me freelance. Wrong move. You need income more than ever. Keep income-producing activities running even if it feels scary to spend money on them. 3. Resist the urge to give up. This is the biggest one. People get hit with one setback and think, see, I knew this wouldn't work. I'm not meant to build wealth. No, you got hit with bad luck. That's different. Bad luck isn't a character flaw. It's just math. If you're in this for 24 months, statistically, something unexpected will happen. The difference between people who hit their goal and people who don't isn't that one group has fewer emergencies. It's that one group doesn't let emergencies become excuses to quit. The layoff scenario. This is the big one everyone worries about. What if you lose your job halfway through? First, this is exactly why we built the foundation in phase 1. If you lose your job with 0 savings, you're in crisis mode immediately. If you lose your job with $3K saved plus another $15K in accessible investments, you have runway.
Here's the plan if you get laid off. Week 1, immediate triage. File for unemployment immediately. In most states, this is $300 to $600 per week. Cut all non-essential expenses, streaming services, eating out, unnecessary subscriptions. Do not pull money out of investment accounts yet. Update your resume and LinkedIn. Weeks 2 through 4, aggressive job hunting. Apply to 5 to 10 jobs per day minimum. Reach out to your network. Let everyone know you're looking. Consider temp agencies or contract work for immediate income. Ramp up side income if you have it. This is why side income is so valuable. It doesn't disappear if you lose your main job. Month 2 plus, bridge income if needed. If you haven't landed a job yet, now you look at freelance or gig work in your field. Uber, DoorDash, TaskRabbit as absolute last resort for immediate cash. Use emergency funds strategically to cover critical expenses. Keep investments intact unless you're about to miss rent or a car payment. Here's the key. Unemployment is horrible for your mental health and scary for your finances, but it doesn't have to destroy your journey to 100K. It might slow you down by 2 to 4 months, but if you execute the plan above, you can get back on track. Real example. Tyler, 30, got laid off in month 13 of his journey. He was at $19,500 net worth. He filed for unemployment, $410 per week, immediately picked up freelance marketing work, $12,000 per month, and he lived lean for 8 weeks. Landed a new job in week 9, actually making $8,000 more per year than his old job. The layoff set him back about $2,500 in net worth, but the better job accelerated his phase 3. He still hit 100K at month 26, 2 months later than planned, but he hit it. The relationship/life change scenario. This one's trickier because it's more emotional. Maybe you get engaged and suddenly you're planning a wedding. Maybe you break up and need to move. Maybe you decide to go back to school. Maybe you have a kid. Congrats, your financial life just got 10x more complicated. Here's what I'll say. Life doesn't stop for your financial goals, nor should it. If something major happens that genuinely requires you to shift priorities, shift them. But, and this is important, don't use life changes as an excuse to completely abandon the system. Getting married? Great. You can still save 25% of your income. In fact, if your partner's on board, dual incomes can accelerate this massively. Having a kid? Yes, that's expensive, but people with kids still build wealth. Your timeline might extend from 24 months to 36 months, but the blueprint still works. Going back to school? Okay, this one's harder, but if you're going back to school specifically to increase your earning potential, factor that into your plan. Maybe your 24-month timeline becomes a 36-month timeline, where months 10 through 20 are school, but months 21 through 36 are accelerated because of your higher income. The point is, adapt, don't abandon. The motivation desert. This isn't an external setback, but it's just as dangerous. This is when nothing bad happens. You just stop caring. You're in month 16. You're at $27,000. You're not excited anymore. You're not upset. You're just meh. The system is running, but you're on autopilot. You're not looking for ways to optimize. You're not pushing. You're just doing the minimum. This is actually more dangerous than a financial emergency because there's no clear moment to respond to. It's slow erosion. How to handle it? 1. Change something. Anything. The way you track your expenses, the app you use, the day you do your monthly review. Novelty can re-engage your brain. 2. Set a micro goal. Don't look at 100K, look at 30K or 35K. Make it close enough that you can hit it in 4 to 6 weeks. 3. Connect with someone else doing this. Seriously, find one person, online or in person, who's also building wealth. Share your numbers with them. Check in monthly. Accountability breaks monotony. 4. Revisit your why. Remember that thing I said about writing down why you're doing this? Read it again. Did it change? Is it still true? If not, update it. 5. Give yourself a mini win. Take $200 and do something that feels like progress. Buy a book you've wanted. Take a course. Upgrade one piece of your setup. Something that feels like investment in yourself, not just deprivation. The motivation desert is real, but it's temporary. You don't need motivation to finish. You just need not to quit.
All right, we've covered the phases, the psychology, the timelines. Now let's get into the tactical weeds, because knowing what to do is useless if you don't know how to actually execute it. The account structure. You need exactly 5 accounts. Not 3, not 10, 5. Account 1, primary checking. This is where your paycheck hits. It's your hub. Everything flows through here. I recommend a no-fee checking account from a major bank, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or an online bank, Ally, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Capital One 360. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, decent mobile app. Account 2, bills checking. This is where your fixed expenses get paid from. Rent, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, critical subscriptions. This can be at the same bank as your primary checking. You want them linked, so transfers are instant and free. Account 3, high-yield savings. This is your emergency fund and opportunity fund. Currently, as of late 2024, early 2025, the best high-yield savings accounts are paying 4.0 to 4.5% APY. I recommend Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ally Bank, American Express Personal Savings, or CIT Bank. These consistently have competitive rates and no minimum balances. Do not use your regular bank's savings account. They're paying like 0.01%. That's insulting. Account 4, retirement account. This is either your 401k through your employer or an IRA you open yourself. For 401k, you're stuck with whatever your employer offers. Hopefully, it's Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab. For IRA, open it at Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. All 3 are excellent, low cost, and easy to use. Roth versus traditional IRA. If you're making under 80K a year, probably Roth. If you're making over 120K, probably traditional. In between, it's a toss-up based on whether you think your tax rate will be higher now or in retirement. Account 5, taxable brokerage account. This is where you invest money beyond your retirement account limits. Same platforms, Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. Pick whichever interface you like best. They're all basically the same in terms of costs and options. That's it, 5 accounts. Everything else is noise. The investment process. Here's exactly what to buy in your retirement and brokerage accounts. If you're under 35, 70% VTI or VTSAX, Vanguard Total Stock Market, or equivalent Fidelity or Schwab fund. 20% VXUS or VTIAX, Vanguard Total International Stock, or equivalent. 10% BND or VBTLX, Vanguard Total Bond Market, or equivalent. If you're 35 to 45, 60% VTI or VTSAX, 20% VXUS or VTIAX, 20% BND or VBTLX. If you're 45 plus, 50% VTI or VTSAX, 20% VXUS or VTIAX, 30% BND or VBTLX. That's the whole strategy. You can get more sophisticated later, but for building your first 100K, this is all you need. But what about individual stocks? What about crypto? What about real estate investment trusts? What about... No, not in phase 1 through 3. You're building a foundation. The S&P 500 has averaged 10.7% annual returns over the last 30 years. You're not going to beat that consistently by picking individual stocks. Neither is almost any professional fund manager, so just buy the market. Once you're past 100K, if you want to take 10% of your portfolio and mess around with individual stocks or crypto or whatever, fine, but not now. Now you're building. Stay boring. The automation setup. Here's exactly how to automate everything so you're not relying on willpower. Day 1, payday. Paycheck hits primary checking. Automatic transfer, fixed expense amount to bills checking. Automatic transfer, retirement contribution to 401k or IRA. Automatic transfer, investment amount to brokerage account. Automatic transfer, savings amount to high-yield savings. Days 2 through 14, bills autopay from bills checking. Set everything to autopay. You spend from primary checking without thinking about bills.
Day 15, mid-month if you're paid bi-weekly, second paycheck hits. Same automatic transfers repeat. Set this up once, it runs forever. The only time you touch it is when you get a raise, increase the amounts, or when you pay off debt, redirect that payment amount to savings. This is how you build wealth without thinking about it every day. The side income toolkit. If you're going to build additional income streams, here are the actual tools that work. For service-based side income, Calendly for booking calls, $10 a month. Stripe or PayPal for accepting payments, free, they just take 2.9% per transaction. Notion or ClickUp for project management, free tier is fine. Loom for recording video explanations or tutorials, $8 a month. For content-based income, YouTube, obviously, free. TubeBuddy or vidIQ for keyword research, $9 a month. Canva for thumbnails, $13 a month or free tier. ConvertKit or MailChimp for email list if you build one, free up to 1,000 subscribers. For e-commerce, Shopify, $29 a month. There are cheaper options, but Shopify is the most reliable. Oberlo or Spocket for finding products, $30 a month. Facebook Ads Manager for customer acquisition. Budget varies. Start with $10 a day. For freelancing, Upwork or Fiverr to find initial clients, free. They take 20% of your first $500 with a client, then it decreases. LinkedIn for networking and finding opportunities, free. Harvest or Toggle for time tracking, free tier works. You don't need all of these. Pick the tools for whatever income stream you're pursuing. But these are the actual platforms people use to make real money, not theoretical apps someone mentioned at a blog post. The tax strategy. Okay, quick tax section because nobody talks about this and it matters. When you're building wealth this fast, you need to think about taxes or you'll get destroyed in April. If you have side income, set aside 25 to 30% of every payment you receive for taxes. Stick it in your high-yield savings under a mental label of tax money. In April, you'll pay your taxes and whatever's left over is yours to keep. Better yet, if you're making over $1,000 in side income, pay quarterly estimated taxes. Yes, it's annoying. No, you don't want to get hit with penalties for underpayment. If you're investing in taxable brokerage accounts, be aware of capital gains tax. If you sell an investment you've held for less than a year, you pay your regular income tax rate on the gains. If you hold for over a year, you pay long-term capital gains rates, which are lower, 0, 15, or 20%, depending on your income. This is why you buy and hold. You're not day trading, you're investing for years. Lastly, if you're maxing out retirement accounts, good. Those contributions lower your taxable income. If you make $60,000 and you put $6,000 in a traditional IRA, you only pay taxes on $54,000. That can save you $1,200 to $1,800 in taxes, depending on your bracket. I'm not a CPA, and you should talk to one if your situation gets complex, but these basics will keep you out of trouble.
All right. So the blueprint I've laid out will get you to 100K in 24 months if you execute it consistently. But what if you want to go faster? What if you're willing to be more aggressive, take on more calculated risk, or just optimize harder? Let's talk about the advanced strategies. These aren't necessary. The basic blueprint works, but these can shave 3 to 6 months off your timeline if done right. Strategy 1. Geographic arbitrage. This is fancy talk for move somewhere cheaper while keeping your income the same. If you're paying $2,100 a month for rent in San Francisco or New York and you're working remotely, why not move to Austin or Denver or Raleigh, where comparable rent is $1,300 a month? That's $800 saved. Over 18 months, that's $14,400. Or go further. Some people move to Tulsa or Detroit or Cleveland where rent is $700 a month. That's $1,400 saved. Over 18 months, that's $25,200. That alone could be a quarter of your journey to 100K. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I like living in blank expensive city. Cool, me too. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm telling you it's an option that can dramatically accelerate your timeline if you're willing to make that trade-off. Real example. Lisa, 33, was a software project manager making $95K in San Francisco, paying $2,800 for a one-bedroom. She went full remote during COVID and moved to Charlotte. got a comparable apartment for $1,150, saved $1,650 a month. Over 2 years, that was $39,600 extra toward her net worth. She hit $100K in 16 months instead of 24. Geographic arbitrage is the single fastest way to increase your savings rate without making more money, but it requires flexibility and willingness to move. Strategy 2, the career acceleration play. This is when you use your momentum to make a significant career jump, not just a raise, but a level up. Instead of going from 50K to 55K, you go from 50K to 70K. Instead of 70K to 77K, you go 70K to 95K. How? A few methods. Method A, strategic company hopping. Staying at one company for 3 to 4 years, you might get 3 to 4% annual raises. Switching companies, you can get 20 to 30% increases. Example, you're making $65K as a mid-level analyst, and you spend 3 months networking, interviewing, and positioning yourself as a senior analyst. You land a senior role at a new company for $82K. That's a $17K jump, $1,417 more per month. If you can do this in month 10 to 14 of your journey, that extra income for the remaining months can add 15 to 20K to your net worth by month 24. Method B, skill stack your way up. This is where you learn a complementary skill that makes you uniquely valuable. Example, you're a data analyst who knows SQL and Excel. You spend 90 days learning Python and Tableau. Suddenly, you're not just a data analyst, you're a data analyst who can build automated dashboards and predictive models. That's a different tier of hiring and compensation. I've seen people increase their value by 15 to 25K annually by adding one in-demand skill to their existing expertise. Method C, become the specialist. Instead of being a generalist, become the go-to expert in one specific thing. Example, instead of marketing manager, you become B2B SaaS email marketing specialist with Klaviyo expertise. Way fewer people can do that, way more valuable, way higher comp. Specialists make 30 to 50% more than generalists in the same field, but you have to actually be a specialist, not just call yourself one. Strategy 3, the side business explosion. This is when you take your side income from $500 to $1,000 a month and scale it to $3,000 to $5,000 a month. This isn't for everyone. It requires treating your side income like a real business, not just a hobby. But if you're willing to do it, it can add 30 to 50K to your net worth over the journey. Here's what scaling actually looks like. Phase A, validation, months 0 to 6. You're testing offers, finding clients, figuring out what works, making $300 to $800 a month. Phase B, systemization, months 7 to 12. You're templating everything, creating repeatable processes, building systems. You're at $800 to $1,500 a month. Phase C, scaling. This is where you go from $1,500 to $3,000 plus a month. Example, remember Jennifer from earlier who did resume packages? By month 18, she had a VA handling initial client intake and scheduling, $400 a month, a junior writer doing first drafts of resumes she'd then finalize, $600 a month, a Webflow website that looked professional and ranked well for tech resume writer, and a small email list from her blog content. She was doing 18 to 22 packages per month, averaging $290 per package. That's $5,500 a month in revenue, minus $1,000 in expenses, VA, writer, tools. She's netting $4,500 a month. That's $54,000 per year, in addition to her $58,000 day job. She hit 100K net worth in 16 months instead of 24. That's what scaling a side business can do, but it requires you to think like a business owner, not just a freelancer. Strategy 4, the investment timing play. Okay, I know I said don't try to time the market, and generally you shouldn't, but there are specific situations where being tactical makes sense. Situation 1, market crashes. If the market drops 15 to 20%, which it will at some point during your journey, it always does, don't panic and sell. Instead, if you have cash reserves beyond your emergency fund, this is when you deploy them into investments. You're literally buying stocks on sale.
If the S&P 500 drops from 4,500 to 3,800 and you buy at 3,800, when it recovers to 4,500, which historically it always does, you just made 18.4% on that money. Situation 2, Roth IRA conversions. If you have a traditional IRA and you have a year where your income is lower than normal, maybe you were unemployed for part of the year or you took a lower paying job to switch careers, you can convert some of your traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. You'll pay taxes on the conversion, but if your income is low that year, you're paying a lower tax rate. Then that money grows tax-free forever in the Roth. This is advanced, and you should talk to a tax professional, but it can save you tens of thousands in taxes over your lifetime.
Strategy 5. The 50-30-20 Rule Evolution. You've probably heard of the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of income on needs, 30% on wants, 20% on savings. That's fine for normal people, but you're not trying to be normal. You're trying to build 100K in 24 months. Here's the evolved version I use. Months 0 through 8, Phase 1, 60% needs, 20% wants, 20% savings or debt payoff. Months 9 through 18, Phase 2, 55% needs, 15% wants, 30% savings or investment. Months 19 through 24, Phase 3, 50% needs, 10% wants, 40% savings or investment. You're progressively shifting more towards savings as your income grows and your systems solidify. By Phase 3, you're in beast mode. 40% of everything you make is going toward building wealth. This is uncomfortable. This requires sacrifice, but it's temporary. After you hit 100K, you can ease up. You don't have to live like this forever, just for 24 months. And here's the thing. If you've built side income streams, that 40% in Phase 3 might actually be a smaller portion of your total income than the 20% in Phase 1 because your income has doubled. Math example. Month 1, making $4,000 a month, saving 20% equals $800. Month 20, making $7,500 a month, saving 40% equals $3,000. It feels aggressive, but when you look at absolute dollars, it's actually achievable because your income grew. Chapter 9. The Mindset Mastery, the psychology that separates success from failure. All right, we've covered all the tactical stuff, the phases, the numbers, the accounts, the strategies. But here's what nobody wants to hear. The tactics are only 40% of this. The other 60% is your mind. I've seen people with perfect plans fail because their psychology was wrong, and I've seen people with mediocre plans succeed because their mindset was bulletproof. So, let's talk about the mental game. Belief 1. Wealth is built, not found. The lottery, crypto moonshots, meme stocks, inheritance, finding a suitcase of cash. People fantasize about these because they represent wealth without work. But here's the reality. 88% of millionaires are self-made. They built it, slowly, consistently, boringly. If you're waiting for your big break, you're not building wealth, you're gambling, and gambling is not a strategy. The mindset shift, every dollar you save and invest is a brick. You're not looking for a miracle windfall, you're laying bricks every single day. By month 24, you've laid 100,000 bricks. That's your 100K. Some days you lay 50 bricks, some days you lay 500, but you lay bricks every day. Belief 2. Comparison is the enemy. Social media will destroy your financial progress if you let it. Everyone's posting their wins, the new car, the vacation, the promotion, the engagement ring, the house. Nobody's posting their credit card debt, their anxiety, or the fact that they're living paycheck to paycheck despite the fancy pictures. If you're comparing your Phase 1 to someone else's Phase 5, you're going to feel like a failure even when you're winning. The mindset shift? Your only competition is past you. Are you better off than you were 3 months ago? 6 months ago? Then you're winning. Also, unfollow anyone whose content makes you feel bad about your financial situation. Seriously, you don't need that energy. Belief 3. Delayed gratification is a superpower. This is the marshmallow test, but with money. In the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment, kids who could wait 15 minutes for 2 marshmallows instead of eating one immediately had better life outcomes decades later. They made more money, had better relationships, stayed healthier. Building wealth is the adult version of that test. Can you delay buying the new iPhone so you can invest that $1,000? Can you delay the vacation so you can hit your savings goal?
Can you delay lifestyle inflation so you can compound your wealth? The mindset shift? Every dollar you spend today is multiple dollars you won't have in the future. That $1,000 iPhone? If invested at 8% annual return for 30 years, it would be worth $10,062. Now, I'm not saying never spend money. I'm saying be intentional. Make sure the present joy is worth the future cost. Belief 4. Your income is not fixed. This is huge. Most people have a scarcity mindset around money. This is what I make. This is what I'll always make. I need to stretch this. Wrong. Your income is infinitely variable based on the value you create. If you're making $50K and you're competent, you can make $60K with a job change, $70K with a skill upgrade, $80K with a promotion, $100K plus with side income. The mindset shift? Don't ask, how do I save more? Ask, how do I make more? Both matter, but making more has no ceiling. Every person who's built significant wealth made more money at some point. They didn't coupon their way to millions. They increased their income through value creation. Belief 5. Discipline beats motivation. Motivation is fleeting. You feel pumped after watching a video, reading a book, or seeing someone else succeed. That lasts maybe 3 days, then it's gone. Discipline is showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's transferring money to savings when you'd rather buy something. It's working on your side hustle when you're tired. It's saying no to expensive plans when all your friends are saying yes. The mindset shift? Stop waiting to feel motivated. Just execute the system. On good days, on bad days, on days when you feel nothing. The system doesn't require motivation. It just requires consistency. James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your system is automated transfers, monthly reviews, consistent investing, continuous income optimization. The system runs regardless of how you feel. Belief 6. Small wins compound into big wins. People underestimate small improvements because they want dramatic results. What's the point of saving $50 a month? That's nothing. Okay, but $50 a month for 24 months is $1,200, plus growth, maybe $1,350. That's 1.35% of your 100K goal from one tiny optimization. Find 20 tiny optimizations like that, and you've got 27% of your goal. The mindset shift? Don't dismiss small wins. Stack them. A 1% improvement in 100 areas is 100% improvement. Cancel one $12 subscription. Save $144 a year. Pack lunch twice a week instead of buying. Save $800 a year. Negotiate your car insurance. Save $220 a year. Use a cashback credit card for everything. Earn $350 a year. Individually, these seem insignificant, but combined, you just freed up $1,514 per year without changing your lifestyle. Belief 7. You will fail sometimes, and that's fine. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna have a month where you blow your budget. You're gonna make an impulse purchase. You're gonna skip a savings transfer. You're gonna get discouraged. This does not mean you're bad with money. It means you're human. The mindset shift? One bad day doesn't ruin the journey. One bad week doesn't either. Even one bad month can be recovered. What ruins the journey is when you have a bad week and use it as evidence that this isn't working or I'm not disciplined enough, and you quit. If you're trying to get in shape and you eat pizza one night, you don't say, well, guess I'm not getting in shape, and quit the gym. You just eat better the next day. Same with money. Bad financial decision? Acknowledge it, learn from it, and get back on track tomorrow. Progress is not perfection. Progress is net positive movement over time.
All right, we're almost at the end here. If you've made it this far, you're serious about this, and you've earned the insight I promised at the beginning. Let me tell you what actually happens at 100K, because this is the thing that changes the entire game and almost nobody talks about it. It's not about the money itself. 100K doesn't make you rich. It doesn't buy you a house in most markets. It doesn't let you retire. It's not financial freedom by any traditional definition. But here's what 100K does. It creates what I call escape velocity. Let me explain. In physics, escape velocity is the minimum speed an object needs to break free from a planet's gravitational pull. Below that speed, gravity pulls you back. At or above that speed, you break free. In wealth building, 100K is your escape velocity. Here's why. Let's say you have 100K invested in index funds earning an average 8% annual return.
That's $8,000 per year in growth, $667 per month, without you doing anything. Now, compare that to when you had $10K invested. At 8%, that's $800 per year, $67 per month. At $10K, your money is working for you, but it's barely noticeable. At $100K, your money is adding what many people save in a month automatically. But it gets crazier. Let's project forward. Year 1, at $100K, your investments grow by $8,000. If you add just $12,000 over the year, $1,000 a month, you end the year at $120,000. Year 2, that $120K grows by $9,600. Add another $12,000, you're at $141,600. Year 3, that $141.6K grows by $11,328. Add $12,000, you're at $164,928. Year 4, that $164.9K grows by $13,194. Add $12,000, and you're at $190,122. You almost doubled your net worth in 4 years while saving the same $1,000 per month you were saving at the end of your first 24-month journey. Why? Because compound growth on 100K plus is finally meaningful. Your money is doing half the work. This is why Charlie Munger said the first 100K is the hardest. Once you're past it, the math completely flips in your favor. But it's not just about the math. There's a psychological shift that happens at 100K that's arguably even more important. You become someone who has built 100K. Let that sink in. Not someone who inherited it, not someone who got lucky. Someone who built it from nothing through discipline, systems, and consistent action over 24 months. That identity shift is massive because now you know you can do it. And if you can do it once, you can do it again. Going from 100K to 200K will take less than 24 months, maybe 18 months, maybe 15. Going from 200K to 300K, even faster. The systems you built to get to 100K are the same systems that get you to 1 million. They just run longer. Here's the third thing that happens at 100K. Your life options explode. At zero net worth, you're stuck. You can't take risks. You can't turn down a job you hate. You can't invest in opportunities your broke friends can't touch. You can't switch careers and take a temporary pay cut knowing you have runway. You're trapped by your financial situation. At 25K, you're less stuck. You have a safety net, but you're still pretty constrained. At 100K, you have real options. You can take 6 months off to start a business and you won't go broke. You can switch careers and take a temporary pay cut knowing you have runway. You can invest in opportunities your broke friends can't touch. You can negotiate from a position of strength because you don't desperately need the job. Real opportunities that were invisible to you at zero net worth become available at 100K. Real example, Marcus, the software developer I mentioned earlier, hit 107K net worth at month 23. 3 months later, a friend who was launching a startup offered him equity to join as an early employee. The startup couldn't pay him what he was making, but the equity was substantial. At zero net worth, Marcus would have had to say no. He needed the salary. At 107K, he could say yes. He took a $25,000 pay cut, lived off his savings and startup salary for 14 months. The startup got acquired. His equity was worth $430,000. That opportunity only existed because he had 100K, giving him the freedom to take a calculated risk. The relationship to money changes. The fourth thing, your entire relationship to money transforms. Before 100K, money is a source of stress. You're anxious about it. You're checking your bank account constantly with dread. You're worried about emergencies. You feel behind. After 100K, money becomes a tool. You're not worried about survival. You're thinking about growth, optimization, opportunity. The psychological weight lifts. You sleep better. You stress less. You think more clearly about decisions because you're not in constant financial fight or flight mode. I'm not saying 100K makes you happy. Money doesn't work that way. But it removes a specific type of unhappiness, the constant low-level anxiety about whether you'll be okay.
And when that anxiety is gone, you have mental bandwidth for everything else. Your relationships improve, your work improves, your health improves, because you're not burning 20% of your mental CPU on financial stress. The network effect kicks in. The fifth thing, you start attracting different opportunities. People who have their financial act together tend to connect with other people who have their acts together. When you're someone who's built 100K in 24 months, other high performers want to work with you, invest with you, partner with you. Business opportunities appear, investment opportunities appear, job offers appear, not because you're rich, but because you've demonstrated the discipline and capability to execute. You become someone who makes things happen, and people who make things happen attract other people who make things happen. This creates a network effect that accelerates your wealth even further. The confidence to go bigger. The sixth and final thing, you develop unshakable confidence in your ability to build wealth. Most people never build meaningful wealth because they don't believe they can. They think wealth is for other people, people who are smarter, luckier, better connected, from better backgrounds. But you've built 100K in 24 months. You've proven to yourself that wealth building is a skill you possess. And once you have that proof, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to thinking of yourself as someone who's bad with money. You're someone who built 6 figures. That's not luck, that's capability. And that confidence makes you willing to take on bigger challenges, build a business, invest in real estate, pursue aggressive career moves, because you trust yourself to figure it out. This is why the first 100K matters so much. It's not the destination, it's the proof of concept. You're proving to yourself that you can do this, and that proof becomes the foundation for everything that comes after.
Okay, we've covered a ton over the last, what are we at, like an hour and 40 minutes? If you're still here, damn, you're committed. I respect that. But knowledge without action is just entertainment. So let's end with the complete action plan. Here's exactly what you do starting tomorrow. Week 1, foundation setup. Day 1-2, financial audit. Pull up every single account. Checking, savings, credit cards, student loans, car loan, investment accounts, everything. Calculate your actual net worth. Assets minus debts. Write down the number. This is your starting point. Take a screenshot or write it in a journal dated today. Days 3-4, expense tracking setup. Download Mint, YNAB, or create a spreadsheet. Link all your accounts. Review the last 30 days of spending. Categorize everything. Identify your zombie spending, things you didn't even remember buying. Day 5, account structure. If you don't have a high-yield savings account, open one today, Marcus, Ally, or Amex Personal Savings. Set up the 2 checking account system if you haven't. Make sure everything's linked for easy transfers. Day 6, automation phase 1. Set up automatic bill pay for everything that's fixed. Rent, utilities, insurance. Calculate your total fixed expenses. Set up an automatic transfer on payday to move that fixed amount to your bills account. Day 7, planning. Calculate what you can realistically save per month right now. Set up automatic transfer to savings, even if it's just $50. Write down your phase 1 goal, $3,000 in emergency fund by month 8. Write down why you're doing this. Be specific. Month 1, stabilization. Week 2, track every expense obsessively. Don't try to change behavior yet, just observe. Notice patterns. Week 3, identify 3 to 5 subscriptions or expenses you can cut. Cut them. Calculate how much per month you just freed up. Redirect that amount to savings. Update your automatic transfer. Week 4, review your tracking. Calculate your current savings rate. What percentage of income you're saving. Adjust automation if needed. Set calendar reminder for first monthly review. Months 2-4, income optimization begins. Month 2, research salary data for your position. Glassdoor, levels.fy, PayScale. Document your accomplishments at work over the past year. Start casually mentioning to your boss that you'd like to discuss compensations soon. Month 3, identify 2 to 3 skills that would increase your value in your current role. Enroll in one free course or start learning on YouTube. Dedicate 3 to 5 hours per week to skill development. Update your LinkedIn profile. Month 4. Have the salary negotiation conversation. Even if you don't get a raise, you've planted seeds. If you do get a raise, immediately redirect 100% of the increase to savings. Start brainstorming possible side income ideas based on your current skills. Months 5 through 8. Phase 1 completion. Month 5. Launch one small side income test. Freelancing, consulting, tutoring, whatever aligns with your skills. Goal: make $100 to $300 this month, just to prove it's possible. Keep your day job as priority. Month 6. Optimize your side income based on what worked in month 5. Goal: $300 to $500 this month. Check your emergency fund progress. Should be around $1,500 to $2,000 by now. Month 7. If you have high-interest debt, check your payoff progress. Ensure your side income is consistent, even if small. You should be hitting $500 to $700 a month total savings by now. Month 8. Final Phase 1 push. Check your accounts. Are you at or near $3,000 emergency fund? Is your income higher than month 0? Are your systems running automatically? If yes to all 3, you're ready for Phase 2. Months 9 through 18. Phase 2 acceleration. Month 9. Open a Roth IRA if you don't have one. Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. Set up automatic monthly contributions, even if it's just $100. Buy your first index fund shares, VTI or equivalent. Increase your savings rate target to 25%. Month 10. Scale up side income goal. Target $800 to $1,000 per month. Consider hiring a VA or outsourcing one task if it frees up time for higher value work. Check your net worth. Should be around $12,000 to $15,000 if you started at 0. Month 12. Mid-journey check-in. You're halfway through. Net worth should be $18,000 to $22,000. Celebrate this. Take yourself to a nice dinner. Budgeted. Reassess your Phase 3 goals. Is $100K realistic? Could you push for $120K? Month 15. You should be hitting $900 to $1,200 a month in savings by now. Your side income should be mature, $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Research your next career move or promotion opportunity. Update your resume and LinkedIn aggressively. Month 18. End of Phase 2. Net worth should be $25,000 to $30,000. Your savings rate should be 30 to 35%. You should have 2 solid income streams. Time to plan your Phase 3 aggressive moves. Months 19 through 24. Phase 3 sprint. Month 19. Make the aggressive move. Job switch, business scale, calculated investment, or all 3. Push savings rate to 40% if possible. Cut all unnecessary expenses for the final sprint. Month 20. Optimize everything. Check your accounts, fees, allocations. Are you fully utilizing tax-advantaged space? Is every dollar working for you? Month 21. You should be at $50,000 to $60,000 net worth by now. Check market performance. Are your investments growing? Final push. Any expenses you can cut for 3 months. Any bonus opportunities at work. Month 22. Look for strategic windfalls. Sell things you don't need. Take on one final project. Check your investment allocations. You should feel the momentum now. Month 23. Net worth should be $70,000 to $85,000. The finish line is visible. Don't ease up. This is when you push hardest. Calculate exactly what you need to do in the next 30 days to hit $100K. Month 24. Final push. Every dollar counts. You might hit $100K before month end, or you might need to push into month 25. Either way, you're so close you can taste it. The day you hit $100K, take a screenshot of your accounts, compare it to your day 1 screenshot. Process what you just accomplished. Allow yourself to feel proud. Then start planning for $200K. The weekly habits that make this work. Regardless of which month you're in, these weekly habits need to become non-negotiable. Every Monday, 5-minute check-in. Review last week's spending, identify any unusual expenses coming this week, and remind yourself of your current phase goals. Every Friday, 10-minute side income time.
Send one pitch, make one connection, create one piece of content. Even if your side income is established, dedicate 10 minutes to maintaining or growing it. Once per week, pick a day, 30 minutes of skill development or career advancement activity. Course, reading, project, networking call, something that increases your value. Last day of each month, 45-minute monthly review. Calculate your net worth compared to last month, check if you hit your savings target, review expenses for the month, adjust automation if income changed, set specific goals for next month, journal about what worked, what didn't, how you feel. These habits sound simple. They are simple, but they're also what separates people who hit their goals from people who don't.
The emergency brakes. Let's be real, you might need to hit pause at some point. Here's when it's okay to temporarily slow down. Not stop, slow down. Acceptable reasons to adjust the plan. Medical emergency requiring significant unexpected expenses. Job loss requiring you to find new employment. Family crisis requiring your time and resources. Necessary relocation that disrupts your finances. Having a child, if planned. Not acceptable reasons. I just need a break. I deserve to spend a little. One vacation won't hurt. Everyone else is doing X. I'll start again next month. The difference: emergencies happen to you. Excuses are made by you. If something genuinely happens, adjust the plan. Extend your timeline to 28 months or 30 months, but don't abandon the system. Your accountability system. Here's how to stay accountable when motivation fades. Method 1. Public accountability. Tell 3 people your goal. Specific people who will check in on you. Not your parents, they'll be too nice. Not people who are bad with money themselves. Choose people who are disciplined, supportive, and will call you out if you slack. Method 2. Financial accountability partner. Find one person doing something similar. Exchange numbers monthly. Check in. Celebrate wins. Problem solve challenges together. Method 3. Tracking system. Use a simple spreadsheet or app to track net worth monthly. Include a chart. Seeing the line go up, even slowly, is motivating. Method 4. Reward checkpoints. Pre-plan rewards at major milestones. 10K, nice dinner or small purchase you've been wanting. 25K, weekend trip or bigger purchase. 50K, substantial reward. 75K, something meaningful. 100K, significant celebration. These should be budgeted and guilt-free. They're part of the plan. Chapter 12. The common pitfalls. What will try to derail you and how to avoid it. We're in the home stretch here. You've got the blueprint, the action plan, the tactics, the mindset. But before we wrap up, I need to warn you about the things that will try to destroy your progress. Because they will. And if you're not prepared, they'll succeed. Pitfall 1. Lifestyle inflation. This is the silent killer of wealth building. You get a $10,000 raise and suddenly your rent goes up $500 a month. You buy a nicer car, you start eating out more, you upgrade your phone, your wardrobe, your apartment. Before you know it, that $10,000 raise has been completely absorbed by lifestyle increases and you're saving exactly the same as before. How to avoid it? The raise rule. When you get a raise, 75% goes to savings or investing automatically. 25% can improve your lifestyle. A $10,000 raise means $7,500 to your goals and $2,500 to improve your life. That's still a meaningful upgrade without destroying your progress. Pitfall 2. Comparison spending. Your friends go to Cabo, your coworker buys a new car, your brother gets a boat, your college roommate posts their new apartment. Suddenly, you feel behind and your brain starts rationalizing. I work hard. I deserve a vacation too. Everyone has a nice car. Why shouldn't I? I can afford $40,000 on a car with a loan. How to avoid it? Unfollow people who trigger spending impulses. Remember that most people are broke behind the scenes. That $50,000 car probably has a $650 per month payment for 6 years. That Cabo trip, probably $3,500 on a credit card. You're playing a different game. Stay in your lane. Pitfall 3. The fuck it moment. This usually happens around month 11 to 13. You've been disciplined for almost a year. You're tired. You see something you really want. Maybe it's a $2,000 purchase, and your brain goes, you know what? Fuck it. I've been so good. One purchase won't matter. And you're right. One purchase won't destroy your journey, but the fuck it mindset will. Because 1 becomes 2, becomes 5, becomes, I've already blown it this month, might as well enjoy it. How to avoid it? Build in planned indulgences so you never feel so deprived that you snap. And when the fuck it feeling hits, use the 72-hour rule. Wait 72 hours before making any purchase over $100. Usually the impulse fades. Pitfall 4. Overconfidence. This happens around month 15 to 18. You've built 25K to 30K. You start feeling like you've got this figured out. You get cocky. Maybe you decide to try individual stock picking, or day trading, or crypto. Or you get careless with spending because I'm doing so well, a few hundred here and there won't matter. How to avoid it? Respect the process even when it feels easy. The system works because it's consistent. Don't get creative. Don't try to optimize what's already working. Stick to the boring index fund strategy. Pitfall 5. Fear-based decisions. Market drops 15%. Suddenly, your $30,000 portfolio is 25.5K. You panic. You think, I can't afford to lose money right now. You sell everything and move it to cash. Congratulations, you just locked in your losses and guaranteed you'll never recover them. How to avoid it? Remember that market drops are temporary. Over time, the market always recovers. If you're in index funds and you're consistently buying, you're buying at a discount during drops. That's good for you long term. Don't check your accounts daily. Check monthly. Ignore the noise. Pitfall 6. The dream job at lower pay. You get offered a job you love, but it pays $15,000 less. Your brain says, money isn't everything. I should pursue my passion. Maybe. But also timing matters. How to avoid it? If you're in phase 1 or phase 2, the answer is probably no. You need income momentum. If you're in phase 3 and you've got 60K plus saved, maybe you have the flexibility to take it, but run the numbers first. Will this extend your timeline by 6 months, a year? Is that worth it? Pitfall 7. Helping everyone else first. Your mom needs $2,000. Your brother needs $800. Your friend's short on rent. Your partner wants you to pay for more stuff. You want to help. You're not selfish. But if you're constantly putting everyone else's financial needs before your own, you'll never build wealth. How to avoid it? You can't save everyone. Get your oxygen mask on first. Once you're at 100K, you're in a much better position to help others. But at 8K net worth, draining your account to help someone else just creates 2 broke people instead of 1. Learn to say no, or set clear boundaries, like, I can lend you $200, but that's my limit right now. Pitfall 8. The relationship money bomb. New relationships can destroy your financial progress if you're not careful. You start going out more, spending more, trying to keep up with their lifestyle or impress them. Or worse, you move in together and their bad money habits start influencing yours. How to avoid it? Have the money conversation early, like 3rd or 4th date early. You don't need to share your net worth, but you should understand their relationship to money. Are they a saver or spender? Do they have debt? Do they care about building wealth? If your financial values don't align, that relationship will be a constant source of friction. And if they're not supportive of your financial goals, that's a red flag.
Pitfall 9. The side hustle burnout. You push too hard on your side income. You're working 60, 70 hours a week between your day job and your side business. By month 14, you're exhausted, resentful, and ready to quit everything. How to avoid it? Cap your side income time at 15 hours per week maximum. If you need more time to scale, you need to work smarter, hire help, automate, productize, not longer. This is a 24-month sprint, yes, but it's not a death march. Sustainable intensity beats burnout every time. Pitfall 10. The I'll start fresh next month loop. You have a bad spending week. Instead of correcting course immediately, you think, well, I already messed up this month. I'll just start fresh next month. Next month comes. You do well for 2 weeks, then you slip up again. Okay, next month for sure. This loop can steal 6 to 12 months from your timeline. How to avoid it? There is no starting fresh next month. There's only getting back on track today. Every day is day one. You don't wait for Monday, the first of the month, or New Year. You correct course immediately. The final word. You have everything you need. All right, we're at the end here. Almost 2 hours of content. If you've watched this whole thing, you're different. Seriously, most people would have clicked away after 15 minutes. The fact that you're still here tells me you're actually serious about this. So let me leave you with this. Everything I've shared with you works. I've seen it work dozens of times. I've seen people go from negative 15K to positive 100K in 2 years. I've seen people making 45K build 6 figures. I've seen people with zero financial education master this system. The blueprint is proven. The math checks out. The psychology is sound. The tactics are battle-tested. You have everything you need. The question is, will you actually do it? Because here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Information is free. YouTube is free. This video is free. You can watch 500 hours of finance content and not change your net worth by a single dollar. The only thing that matters is execution. And execution is hard. It's boring. It's repetitive. It requires you to say no to things you want to say yes to. It requires discipline on days when you have none. It requires you to think long-term in a world that's constantly pulling you towards short-term pleasure. But you know what else is hard? Being broke at 40, not having options, feeling trapped by your financial situation, watching opportunities pass by because you can't afford to take them, living with the constant low-level anxiety of financial instability. That's hard too. You get to choose your hard. I can't make this decision for you. I can give you the map, but you have to take the journey. So here's what I want you to do right now. Open your notes app or grab a piece of paper. Write down 3 things. 1, your current net worth. Be honest. 2, today's date. 3, your 100K target date, 24 months from now. Take a picture of that. Make it your phone wallpaper if you want. Put it somewhere you'll see it. Because in 24 months, you're going to look back at that number and that date, and you're going to see how far you've come. And if you execute what we've talked about today, the phases, the systems, the income optimization, the discipline, the consistency, you're going to hit that number. Maybe you hit 100K exactly. Maybe you hit 87K. Maybe you hit 115K. The exact number doesn't matter as much as the transformation. In 24 months, you will be a completely different person. You'll be someone who has 6 figures in the bank, understands how money works, has multiple income streams, has proven they can set a goal and achieve it, has options they didn't have before, has the confidence to go even bigger. That's what this journey is really about, not the 100K, the person you become while building it. Now, before you close this video, do me a favor. If you found this valuable, if you genuinely believe this is going to change your financial life, hit the like button. Not for the algorithm, but as a commitment to yourself. Make it official. And subscribe because I'm going to be creating more content like this. Deep dives, no fluff, real strategies, real numbers, the stuff that actually works. Drop a comment telling me your starting net worth and your 24-month target. Just putting it in writing increases your likelihood of following through by 42%. That's real data. And if you know someone who needs this to see, someone who's struggling financially, someone who feels stuck, someone who's tired of being broke, share it with them. You might literally change their life. All right, that's it. That's the complete blueprint. $0 to 100K in 24 months. You have the map. Now go build your wealth. I'll see you at 100K.